Welcome along to another opposition preview. Saints on Sunday should be our favourite phrase. Once again, lunchtime television, and this time we welcome the whole circus of Arsenal Fan TV. Who else to tell us all about it? Robbie, how are you, mate?
How you doing? How you doing? You good?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Looking forward to the game.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough game for us every time we come to Southampton. I don't know what it is. You guys are kind of one of our bogey teams, and at home it always seems to be pretty straightforward for us. But away from home, apart from last season actually, but away from home, we've got a very poor record against Southampton.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But as you say, you've had a bit of a bad record. But I mean, this season it's been indifferent. But you still find yourself fifth. Just summarise what's it been like to watch Arsenal so far this season. Has it been all doom and gloom like the papers have written?
No, I think what you just said is spot on. It's indifferent, so 1 week we can play very, very well and blow somebody off the park. And then another week, again, we can be very sloppy in our play. Still play all right, but be very sloppy like we did against Manchester United last week. Played brilliantly for periods during the game, but our sloppiness at the back lost us the game, basically. And we've seen a few examples of that. And it was a bit disappointing last week because leading up to that game, we've been defending pretty well. We defended resolutely against Burnley away and managed to get a 1-0 victory over them. But it was very disappointing the way we defended against Manchester United. So, yeah, it's very indifferent. You just don't know what Arsenal's going to turn up. At home, we've been very strong. We've been, last week was the first game we'd lost at home this season. The first game we haven't won at home because we won every single game. But away from home, that's been very indifferent. And, Southampton can be a very difficult place to go for us. So I'm hoping that, the players are going to turn it on this week.
And, well, some of the fans, obviously, not too popular with Arsene Wenger, as you're already aware of. But he's been nominated Manager of the Month once again. Is he turning the fortunes around? How do you think Wenger will set up at St Mary's on Sunday? And considered you rotated quite a lot and won comfortably on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'd probably be more or less the same team that you saw play last week against Manchester United. I think that will be the team, more or less, that will start against Southampton. There'll be a couple of guys that played last night, guys like Walcott maybe. But again, he'd be on the bench, I'd have thought. Welbeck will be on the bench. So listen, we've got a very good squad. We've got a lot of firepower that we can bring off the bench. And, certainly the team, we've got a lot of firepower in that team. Alexis Sanchez, Alexander Lacazette has been brilliant for us this season. So there's a lot of firepower throughout the team. The only thing, as I said, that worries me is our defence. It's been indifferent. I thought that we were sort of on a good road to recovery with that defence because, as I said, we went to Burnley, got that win. We beat Tottenham very comprehensively, didn't concede any goals in that game as well. But last week's defending against Manchester United was shocking. So it's what frame of mind those defenders are going to be in. It's how Southampton are going to be able to exploit that. I think going forward, when I look at Southampton's team, you've got some very good players going forward, like tricky players as well, like Tadic, Boufal, Redmond. So it's how we cope with that. If we can cope with that, we can have a lot of joy because, going forward, Arsenal look as, but then that's always been us. That's always been us over the years. Going forward, great, but just defensively. But we're going to have to be on the money right from the beginning of that game. So, same sort of attitude we showed when we played Burnley away, which was a very tricky game. If we can do that, I think we'll be all right.
And you've mentioned frailties in defence, but actually a player, bit of unusual thing this month. Shkodran Mustafi, I've probably pronounced that wrong, but he's nominated Player of the Month. He's a huge doubt and probably will miss the game at St Mary's. It's not very often, though, Arsenal defenders get all the plaudits.
Yeah, well, up until last week, he'd been defending really, really well. He since he'd come back, that had been sort of coincided with us like defending really, really well. But last week against Manchester United, he made a horrendous mistake. And that second goal is what cost us the game. So I hope he is fit. I hope he is playing because, as I said, leading up to that, we've been defending very well. And that's the key I always think for Arsenal. If we can defend all right, we're going to get a lot of joy against teams, because going forward, we've definitely got the tools to score. We've definitely got the tools to hurt any team, but it's just how we defend, really.
And those tools are obviously Sanchez, Lacazette, you've mentioned those, but how can we keep those quiet?
How can you keep them quiet? Well, hopefully you don't. But listen, obviously Van Dijk is a guy that I admire. I'd love Arsenal to get him. I think that most Premier League teams would like to have Van Dijk in their team. So, I mean, I know that a bit like us, you guys have been a bit indifferent as well. So I've seen, you know, the form of Southampton's been a bit indifferent. That's why I think what we really need to do against you guys is get on the front foot right from the start of that game and try and put you guys under a lot of pressure, because I know that even you guys have been getting on your managers back a bit. And, you know, I haven't seen no Pellegrini out banners yet, but I don't know, right? But if we can get on the front foot, put a lot of pressure on you guys, maybe get an early goal, then there'll be a lot of pressure on you guys. Yeah, you got to, you know, Van Dijk's a very good defender. And Fraser Forster, every time we play against him, he's like the Gea clone. I remember playing you guys a couple of seasons at home. He made about 10 world-class saves, you know, and then about the couple of weeks later, I see him playing, all right, and I was like, is that the same guy? I think he let it through his legs or something, you know what I mean? So, you know, you guys have got a good defensive setup normally against us.
Yeah, and as you mentioned at the top there, we've been a bit of a bogey team, so let's have your prediction, mate. Although last season you put 7 past us. Yeah,
but I think that game, that was an FA Cup game in which you rested a lot of players. So I don't really like to go up for that game. We beat you in the league, but even that game, if I remember rightly, it was towards the end of the league sort of thing. So I think it's going to be a tight game. I do worry a bit about Charlie Austin. I know he's been banging goals in. But I think if we can get on the front foot in the game, like we've been doing recently away from home, get on the front foot and really come out with an attacking intent, I'll go 2-1. Because I think one of the advantages we've got at the moment is that we've got a lot of firepower on that bench. If we need to change things, it can bring Giroud off the bench, Welbeck, Walcott. You know, there's a lot of tools there, Wilshere. So if we get on the front foot, I fancy us. We cannot afford to go into that game with a lackluster approach. I think if we do that, we could end up getting another beaten by Southampton. So it should be a good game.
Excellent stuff, Robbie. Great as always, mate. And it doesn't need to be said where to find you. But big thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you. I'll see you at the weekend, man.
Nice one. And don't forget to leave us your predictions for Sunday's match. Wake up in time. And also a lot of travel for the travelling Arsenal fans. If you are watching, their bus replacements from Winchester down through the New Forest. So leave early. But leave us your predictions and leave us your likes, your comments and subscribe for more.